Hey, what is up, everybody? Interestingly enough, Brennan Moreno has obviously gone back to the drawing board, and after the past couple losses he took, he lost to Pantoja, I believe a third time it was, and then he lost the rematch to Brennan Royval. So a little bit of a regression on his stage. And it says a lot for Brennan's character that he's going back and he's training with different people, seeing if he could learn different stuff. And, whether you're an MMA hobbyist, just doing jiu-jitsu, just specializing in judo, you want to be in the UFC, cross-training is good. A lot of gyms, for some reason, regardless of skill level, right? Whether, let's say if you're in jiu-jitsu, you're just going to your typical Gracie school, or you're actually being invited to go train at New Wave with John Danaher. I'm not putting words in John Danaher's mouth about his policy on cross-training, but sometimes it happens at every level is the point that I'm trying to make. Sometimes it's looked down upon. People view it as you're being a traitor, when honestly, look, as long as you're returning to your home gym, and if you are switching gyms, you got to leave on good terms with your coach, and just explain to them why it is you're leaving. I really think that cross-training is all right. And in Brennan Moreno's case, I understand Demetrious Johnson also trains and is friends with Henry Cejudo, and Henry Cejudo and Brennan Moreno have a history where now Cejudo views Brennan Moreno as kind of like a traitor because they used to train together, but now he's not anymore. He seeked pastures anew, and because he did, he ended up winning the saga against Davidson Figueiredo, and retaining the title only for Pantoja to take it, right? And whether he was winning or losing, Cejudo really just was a very respectable sport on that one. When Brennan Moreno was on the right side of these fights, he would give props, but if his team won against Brennan Moreno, he would be rather he wouldn't be too rub it in the face. I think it's just, he understands that there might be some feelings there. But at the end of the day, it's nothing too overly dramatic, and it's really just business in that aspect. But now, with Demetrious Johnson and Brennan Moreno training together, I feel like that's an indicator that maybe Brennan Moreno might want to go up to bantamweight just for kind of a showman fight with Henry Cejudo, because that would be definitely worth checking out. Henry Cejudo, the guy that beat Demetrious Johnson by narrow margin, versus Brennan Moreno, who has been nearly the face of the flyweight division, still is one of the faces, one of the most marketable things that's happened to the flyweight division since Demetrious and Henry Cejudo themselves, looking for a new fight. Now, should Brennan Moreno stay at flyweight for much longer? I don't really think so. I think that the title days, as long as Pantoja and these next round of fighters are in the picture, maybe moving to bantamweight just for some wrap-up fights for your career, because I think once you get to that title picture, obviously I've said this before, look for something to give the fans. Give the fans some homage, and Henry Cejudo definitely has talked about where he's at right now. I think he's injured, and he wants to come back, and definitely he wants that Brennan Moreno fight. So seeing that Moreno is training with Demetrious Johnson, going over stuff, Demetrious is really probably going to be playing Switzerland, if my theory is correct, where, they're training each other for this fight. They, if Demetrious Johnson is going to be training both parties, whose corner is he going to be in? Is he just going to be in the stands watching? Who knows? But I think I'm seeing a massive setup and snowball towards this fight happening, maybe in a main event. Maybe they could go to Phoenix or the Footprint Center themselves. It doesn't have to be a pay-per-view, but it could most certainly be, a fight night or something if they choose to come back to Arizona, which honestly I'd love. But that's what I got to say. I think that this is an indicator that we are going to see this fight in the near future. And during the time Henry Cejudo is coming back from injury, Brennan Moreno is going to be really changing and evolving. And if you were to go back 5 years and I were to say definitely Henry Cejudo would mop the floor with Brennan Moreno. But since Henry's getting older and Brennan Moreno is trying to evolve and really taking ownership of his game, I think that it might be a 50-50 split. Henry could still win this one, but I'm not going to really count Brennan Moreno out if this is the route that they all are choosing to go. And, like I said, obviously, all speculation, but I think this is an interesting next chapter in a saga leading up to a fan service fight that we never really knew we wanted up until now. But that's what I got to say.